at the end of that debate, I would say in the end of the 1990s, before the peace process collapsed, I can point to three sort of examples which show how far we went in our influence, let's say, or in the reaction to our findings. One is a very famous television program. In 1998, Israel celebrated its 50th anniversary, and for that celebration, the Israeli First Channel on TV prepared a documentary series on Israel's history, 22 chapters on the country's history, and this was the flagship. And in that program, the first chapters dealt with 48, and you could see the influence of our work on the official narrative the Israeli documentary adopted here, the Israeli TV documentary adopted it. Not in totality. They didn't accept everything, but they admitted that there were expulsions. They admitted that Israel carries the responsibility for not having peace after 1948. They did deal with the myth that Israel was not alone, as it is portrayed in our school books before 48, and it was quite impressive. So that was one example. The second example were textbooks prepared in those years for the Israeli educational system, which, where I call it, were peppered with our ideas, meaning that substantially they have not changed, or fundamentally they have not changed. But here and there you could see reference in official textbooks for the Israeli school children that were a bit different from the official version. The third one is an interesting story. It has to do with the way that the politicians were using our work. And the Israeli delegation in the Oslo process, in the very beginning of the Oslo process, encountered a lot of problems of trust from the Palestinian side. The Palestinian delegation did not believe the Israelis that they have changed fundamentally their positions on the refugees. So the Israeli delegation produced our works to show them that, you see, there's a new intellectual trend in Israel, and definitely we're thinking differently. Interestingly, in the Camp David Accord in the summer of 2000, it were the Palestinians who produced our work to show the Israelis that they are retracting on their previous promises to go much further than they actually did in the summer of 2000. So let's say the year 1999, before the total collapse of the peace process, I could move around this university feeling that I have some influence on the educational system, maybe even on the political system, definitely on the scholarly community, and even the university treated me as persona grata, someone, I always say that in those years when there were delegations coming from abroad, either to contribute money or, to take interest in the university, I was always a welcome speaker in those events as far as the university public relations division is concerned. And I mention it because I want to show how the wheel has turned 180 degrees. Now came October 2000, the outbreak of the second uprising, the Intifada, a total change in the general Israeli public mood about peace, about the Palestinians. And the books that were prepared under the influence or inspiration of the new historians were taken out of the educational system. Any television program that dares even to hint to a critical point of view is taken off the screen, and my own position becomes very precarious in the university. It became even worse because my main colleague in the group of new historians did a kind of a mea culpa, Benny Morris, and he said that he was wrong to accuse Israel of war crimes or doing something wrong in 48. In fact, Israel had the right to transfer the Palestinians and has the right to do it again should it feel threatened. So I was, and I think the net result of that reversal of public opinion was that my own university tried to expel me and did not succeed. And now when all these foreign delegations come from abroad to the university to contribute money or to take interest in the university wants to make sure that I'm not in a campus. 5 years ago they were looking desperately to find me, that I could talk to these people and show the pluralism of the university. Now they want to hide me because I embarrassed them with my positions and ideas. So it shows you that there is a kind of ups and downs. I think the beginning was very suspicious, very hostile. Then there was a period of opening, and in a way it's like the Israeli public was opening the new book that I was offering, I and others were offering them, looked at the book and were terrified with what it meant for them. Because so many of them felt, wrongly by the way I think, but they felt that if I'm right, they have serious doubts about their moral right to be here. And I think that's what really terrifies them. They don't want to deal with it. They rather want to go back to their own idea of morality, which is if you are powerful and strong, then you're also morally right. If I succeeded in expelling someone, it means he was wrong. I don't want to go into the question whether what does it mean, this expulsion? What does it mean that the victims of the Germans were victimizing others? What does it mean that the survivors of the Holocaust were creating such a terrible catastrophe for the Palestinian people? They don't want to deal with these questions. I feel that they will. Well, we'll probably talk about it a bit later, but I feel they have to deal with it.
How do your students react over this whole period? Give me a little bit of their reaction
Good.
then and how that changed.
Good. It hasn't changed that much, but there's a difference between two groups of students. The undergraduate students, who are not sure yet what they will do in life, definitely are not sure whether they want to embark on an academic career or not, are very supportive, are very receptive. Most of them, of course, didn't live through the 48 period. They know that something is wrong and that the solutions that are being offered to them do not work. So, and they find it a refreshing approach. So I'm very popular with the young students. I call them young, I mean in the sense that they are undergraduate. The postgraduate students, those who go for a second degree or third degree, who already made up their mind that they want to become professional academics, are very worried that any association with me would affect their careers. It means that, like good academics, the moment they really become professionally, they lose their moral courage and integrity. One of my students, although he was not directly a student of mine, wrote a dissertation not under my supervision. In fact, I suggested to him not to be supervised by me because I knew it could spell trouble. And very naively worked with a very sort of mainstream historian in this university. And he looked thoroughly at what happened to several villages during the 48 war. And he used what Israeli historians do not like to use. He used oral history as well. He started interviewing Palestinians who still survived from that period. And in one of the villages, a huge village, which is gone now, not far away from where we sit in Haifa, the village of Tantura, he heard from all the survivors and from some of the Jewish soldiers who participated in the occupation of the village that a terrible massacre took place there. In fact, one of the biggest massacre in 48. And he wrote a dissertation, very carefully, saying these are witnesses, both them and the Jews insist that the massacre took place. So he said, I cannot say exactly how many were killed. I'm not preparing a legal suit against those who massacred. I'm just saying that in collective memory of Palestinians and Israelis alike, there is one massacre here. We should wait and maybe one day even get fuller evidence about it. And the examiners liked the thesis, and rightly so, and gave him one of the highest grade ever given in Haifa University to a master dissertation. The soldiers who represent the veteran association of that unit sued him in court. And even before the trial began, he started to regret his own involvement because it was accompanied by many telephone threats to him and his wife. And he's not so strong. I mean, I know as someone who is involved in such struggles, you need to be quite a good constitution for such struggles, let's say. And he doesn't have it. He doesn't have it. And he thought of a way out of it, which he regretted later, which was to sign an apology, which the lawyers of the other side succeeded in getting out of him. And he did not even consult his own lawyers about it. 12 hours after he did it, he realized that this was stupid, and he should go to court and defend his findings because he believed in his findings. But the court already said, this is it. You cannot retract on a retraction. I'm not a legal expert, so I don't know if it's true or it doesn't matter. It meant that there was no trial. But ever since that episode, he continued very forcefully saying that a massacre took place. And that's where I got in. I decided to do my own research. I also find documents. I went to the archives. And I wrote articles in English, in Arabic, in Hebrew, every language, claiming A, that there was a massacre. I'm convinced. And second, I asked the soldiers to sue me. Because I said, I'm willing to go to court. I can prove to you that there was a massacre. Now, of course, the soldiers did not sue me, and haven't until this very day. But the thing is that the university decided to disqualify this poor student, although he stood behind it. And they first told him he has to revise the thesis, because an inquiry commission discovered that here and there he misquoted some of the interviews, which every historian does, especially an MA student. But anyway, they found it, and he could correct it. So he corrected it. But after he corrected him, they disqualified him again. And this was really a campaign of harassment towards the student. And because I openly criticized the university on this issue, the university started to persecuting me and prosecuting me as well. It came to a disciplinary court. But luckily, there was such an overwhelming international pressure on the university that the procedures against me were suspended.